financial problems, elder law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by Thav Gross. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is at the bar, worried about debt, now jail. Not a good day. Jenny Lingle.
Hi, Ken. Good to be here today.
You're supposed to be wondering, well, how did you go from at the bar, worried about debt, to jail?
Well, since I know who our expert is today, I think I know where we're going with this.
Brian Small.
I'm just wondering if that was your last Tuesday.
No. I was working.
Okay.
Corey Silverstein.
Excited to be here, Ken.
You're on the spot today because the going to jail affects you.
No, I'm not sure I would put it that way, but yes.
Well, we're looking for your advice.
That's probably the better way to put it.
You've gone to jail before, haven't you?
I have
Our
not.
fictional
Sure you have. You
client
visited lots of
today
clients in jail.
is Richard, not Jeffrey Kirshner. How are
It
you,
is not.
Jeffrey?
I'm good. A little nervous. I got Corey here to protect me, so I feel better.
you
Although it
wanna
always
take-
makes me nervous at the same time.
Do you want to
too.
pretend to be Richard?
No.
Here's our case study today. Richard.
I didn't do it.
If you want to think of a
Wasn't
Richard,
me.
we can make Jeffrey the fictional Richard, but Richard is a fictional character. He's got $80,000 of credit card debt.
Yeah, it sounds like a real character to me.
He's 2 months behind on his mortgage, and he thinks his boss is about to fire him. This is how his Thursday went.
I thought you said this was fiction.
He stops at the pub on his way home because he's mortified about what's going on at work with the debt and everything else. He has 3 vodkas on the rocks over the course of an hour and a half. These are long pours at his favorite pub. First question, it's time to go home. What should Richard do?
Not get in a car.
Walk.
Uber.
If he was a millennial, for sure he would know to Uber, wouldn't he?
Uber, Lyft, walk.
Anything
Or
but
take those
drive.
little scooters too that you ride.
I mean,
Gotta
honestly,
do that too.
The bird. Yeah, those are bird scooters.
anything. Find the nearest bum and give you a piggyback ride. Anything.
Call his spouse and say, "Come pick me up. I've had too much to drink."
That could be risky.
wait.
I would pick the bum over the
Take a
spouse.
cab.
Or if your spouse was a
Take
bum.
a cab.
Cab,
Take a cab.
that's what Uber and
Do they-
Lyft
I
is.
know,
Our
but
cabs still
cabs
exist?
still
They
exist.
do, but like,
I've only had a couple drinks. I have my act together. I can drive home.
actually, you want to know something interesting? In Detroit now, they have the bicycles. They're like rickshaws, but with the bicycles on front. So you can leave the bar, and they come to you, and they basically
Pedal cabs.
They're like pedal cabs. So they're doing that for all the
if I'm
sports stadiums.
downtown in Detroit, I can go on a bike to come back to Farmington Hills.
No, not necessarily back to Farmington Hills, but they would take you on a bike. Say you actually lived
To a
in
hotel or
Detroit. They
something?
could take you to a hotel. They could take you to a bus stop. They could take you to the Woodward.
Okay. What
Uber
should Richard
thing?
do? He should not get in the car.
He
We
should-
all agree.
he should not.
Let's go on. He gets in the car.
Yep.
He's an
He
idiot.
doesn't do what he's supposed to do. He's driving home on the highway. Lights are flashing behind him, red and blue. He hears a barking, pull over. He pulls over. Corey, walk us through.
Well,
What do we do at this point? The police officer comes up to the car and is asking for registration and license.
right.
Well, I think the
Please,
first
sir.
thing he should do is probably pull over, right, Corey? Not
Well,
lead him on a high
the first
speed
thing
chase.
the first thing he should do is pull over. You get absolutely nowhere by.
Should he
by-
then pop some mints in his mouth?
No, that doesn't help. That's an urban legend also, but that doesn't really work. At this point, if a
Hold
mint
his
isn't gonna
nose,
do
suck
much,
in his breath?
not going to work either. At this point, in this example, Richard here had 3 vodkas over an hour and a half, so ethanol is going to be emanating from his breath, his skin. His eyes are going to have a different color. So as soon as the officer comes up to now, I guess let's take it a step back.
Was he weaving?
Well, that's the first question is why was he pulled over, I guess. Was he speeding? Was he weaving? Did he run a stop sign?
Does he have the right to ask the police officer, why are you pulling me over?
Sure, he could say that, absolutely. You could say, officer, what did you pull me over for? Now, you might have an officer that is not a very nice individual and wants to be difficult and doesn't want to tell him and,
He says, sir, the reason why I pulled you over is because I found that you were weaving all around the road.
he's done.
And then does the police officer then say, have you been drinking?
If the police officer might, my guess is though, before he gets to that step, he's immediately going to get the license and registration in his hand because for his own safety and what have you, he wants to get the license and registration so he can identify who it is that's in the vehicle. At that point, what he's immediately going to say, based on his observation, his smell, what he sees.
So he then says, does he ask you if you've been drinking?
And this is where, right away, defendants need to smarten up. Because at this point, remember, Ken, that this is the new era of police enforcement. You have to assume right from the start that every single police officer is mic'd and camered up. At this point, I would simply, if I were the defendant, I'd say, you know what, officer, I respectfully don't want to answer that question.
So right off the bat, you don't try and say, yeah, I've had a couple of drinks, but I'm okay.
It doesn't work because, that's by human nature, natural instinct says that they want to talk themselves out of it. They think that they can, tell the officer,
I'm a nice guy.
Yeah, I'm a nice guy. I had a drink, but it was 4 hours ago, whatever.
And I'm about to get fired.
It's not, none of that's going to work.
4 months behind my, give me a break.
Every statement that comes out of someone's mouth when they're being interviewed by the police is going to come back against them. The best thing you can do is clam up, stop talking.
All right, so I'm Richard. I'm not going to talk. Now the police officer says, would you please step out of the car?
Yep.
And I said, no, I'd rather not.
Get out of the car.
Excuse me, but I'd prefer not to get out of the car.
Get out of the car, because
it's cold outside. I don't want to get out of the car.
Get out of the car. This is where situations.
So you have to get out of the car?
Yes, this is where situations can oftentimes go from bad to worse. Because when an officer says, "Okay, you know what? Please exit the vehicle," at that point already, again.
Don't say, "Why do I have to get out of the car?"
Don't go there. Stop talking. This is just more mistake. Do what you're told. Be cooperative, and you'll actually find that police officers, even in a situation where, look, they know you're drunk, you know you're drunk, they will treat you with a very good regard of respect, unless
you're giving them a hard time.
You give them a hard time, you start acting like a jerk.
So I get out of the car.
You get out of the car. Now you're standing there.
Now he's asking me to recite the ABCs.
Well, not yet.
Which I can't do when I'm sober.
Before he does that, the officer, what he's going to do is he's going to do a pat down. The pat down is for his security to make sure that the defendant doesn't have anything that could potentially hurt him.
All right, so I'm patted down.
Yep.
And he's not violating my rights at all by patting me down?
We're going to take a break.
At this point, he's
we're going to take a break. We're going to come back right after the pat down. I want to go one step at a time.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Thav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Thav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
Thav Gross specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
A lifetime of hard work. If you don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your savings, and more. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Samasco Law wants you to know that laws are changing. Today, the average cost of nursing home care is $85,000 a year. With proper planning, we can help protect your life savings and get you the Medicaid and nursing home benefits you deserve.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. there is a solution.
Worth Ave Gross, our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Fav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Fav Gross today, 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
Worth Ave Gross, our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, we're back. The pat down's going on. Brian,
So,
what are you
no,
gonna say?
when you stepped out of the car, now the officer wants to pat you down. Is he violating my rights at this point?
He's not. The U.S. Supreme Court has made it perfectly clear that an officer has a it's not a violation of your constitutional right for the officer to pat you down to make sure that the person being investigated isn't carrying any
Doesn't
sort
matter
of
if you're opposite
dangerous
sexes
weapon.
between the officer and the...
It really doesn't, but nowadays what the officers will usually do, if it is a female, officer will call for a female assist. Sometimes, again, if you're cooperating and you're a female and you say, you know what, officer, I would prefer that you bring a female to the scene, some officers will do it, some won't.
Maybe it'll take long enough so you can sober up?
No. No. Unfortunately, it won't take that long.
It won't take 2 days.
No, it definitely won't take that. But Brian, that's an excellent question. So at this point now, you've been patted down. The officer knows that you have no weapons on you, etc. He's most likely going to put you through what's called a field sobriety test. Field sobriety test is very much what you've seen on TV. Officer might have you stand on one leg. He might have you touch your nose. He might have you recite the alphabet.
Do you have to do all that?
Yes, you do. Because again, at this point, if you don't
Are
cooperate,
you creating evidence against you though when you flunk the test?
you are, but at this point, at this point, if the officer is starting the process of doing a field sobriety test and you don't comply, again, you're only making it more difficult for yourself.
Well, wait. Here's a question. So, if they're going to do a field sobriety test, aren't they eventually just going to get you to ask you to blow into the field sobriety?
Wait. Maybe if you pass the test, they won't.
Well, if you ultimately pass all the field sobriety tests, at that point, it's going to be extremely difficult for the officer to really go much further in his investigation and justify a potential arrest. Now, but what Brian just said is right, because ultimately what comes after the field sobriety test is what's known as the PBT. This is the little tiny thing that you see all the time that people commonly refer to as a breathalyzer test. Now, what people have to remember that they don't know, and this is the common mistake, a PBT is actually, it is not a criminal offense to refuse the PBT. And
should you refuse it?
I always advise my clients to refuse the PBT. A PBT, at absolute worst, what will happen is you will be hit with what's called a civil offense for failure to do a PBT. That's a civil offense. It has no effect. It's a civil infraction. It's a money fine. It's not a misdemeanor. It has no effect on your driving record. The reason for this is because a PBT has already been held to not be evidence that can be used against you ultimately in trial to convict you of a drunk driving offense.
So if you know you're not going to pass,
right?
Two things: don't fight the cop.
Nope.
Do what you're told.
Yep.
Number one, go through the test, and then when he says we want you to do this, you say I respectfully decline.
I respectfully decline the PBT. At that point, what's going to happen is the officer is going to say, okay, I have reason to believe you're under arrest. At that point, you will be handcuffed. You will be placed in the back of a car.
Wait, I do not want to be handcuffed.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Well, Corey,
it simply doesn't work like that.
you've refused the PBT, but I'm pretty sure that's not the end of it. What test are you going to have to take?
What comes next?
Well, so at this point, you're going to be arrested. So now you're under arrest and you're going to be taken to the station. So now...
So let me pause for 1 second. If you took the PBT, then what happens?
If you took the PBT and you failed it, you're going to be arrested.
Okay, if you took the PBT and you passed it, then you wouldn't get arrested.
No, and that's why, again, I recommend don't take the PBT, because there are still other offenses in Michigan that you can be charged with. Say, for example, you're right on the fence, you blow a .07.
And you know if you've had 3 tall vodkas in an hour and a half, you're not going to pass the PBT.
Well, here's the thing.
There's no point dreaming, right?
Here's the thing that bothers me. You get pulled over, you do a .07. So now you're not drunk on the PBT, but they're going to arrest you anyway and drag you down to the station. The time lapse between the time that you get arrested and reach the station allows the rest of that alcohol that you just had that last drink before you just left the bar and got pulled over now is circulating through your bloodstream, and now your blood alcohol level goes up
That's
rather
right.
than down.
Oh, it goes up? It keeps going
Absolutely,
up?
it can go up depending on the time. Depending on that's the that people oftentimes
I think it's
misconstrue
going down,
that the
not going
second
up.
you finish your last drink, it's going down. That's wrong. Brian's point is very valid. Your alcohol level, again, depending on when your last drink is, how much you weigh, is going to be going up.
Whether you
Okay,
had
not
the
down.
nachos or a sandwich.
Because I interrupted. I want to go back. All right. So you decline the breathalyzer.
You decline
You've been
the
cuffed.
PBT.
The PBT.
Yep.
You've been cuffed, put in the car, and now they're taking you to the station.
Now they're taking you to the
what
police
happens?
station. At the police station, the first thing that's going to happen is they're going to say, okay, sir, you've been arrested for suspicion of drunk driving. Under Michigan, you automatically, when you have a Michigan driver's license, you automatically are required to submit yourself to a chemical test. Now, what they're going to offer you is what's called the Data Master Test. The Data Master Test is another form of a breathalyzer. However, the difference is with the Data Master is admissible in court, and furthermore, if you refuse the Data Master, no matter what happens after that, you will automatically lose your driver's license for 1 year under Michigan's implied consent rule. So, that being the case, the Data Master is a test that you should not refuse. Now, but the Data Master Test has its own set of rights. Before an officer gives you the Data Master Test, they are going to read you a very long sheet, what's called your chemical test rights. Once they go through that sheet, they, in most cases nowadays, will ask you to sign that form. Now, just to go take it one step back, let's say your friend Richard here, who had 3 vodka rocks, he's in the position where he can't even breathe into the tube because he's so drunk, which happens all the time. They might say, you know what, screw this, we're going to do a blood draw. They'll get a warrant for a blood draw, and at that point, they'll take your blood.
They have to call a judge to get the warrant?
They'll get a magistrate. They'll fill out a paperwork. They are regularly given.
It's just going to take some time, but it's not going to take
They'll take some police stations will do it right there if they have the medical professionals on staff. Other ones will take you to the hospital where your blood will be drawn from a licensed
So
professional.
this is happening because you're too bombed to do the Data Master?
Too bombed or potentially even unconscious.
Is that because you can't give consent if you're too intoxicated?
So
then
if
you can't give consent
So
to do this.
if you can give consent to the Data Master and blow into it, you're saying you should do
Yes,
that?
don't screw around with it. So many people, they start playing games with the Data Master. We see this all the time. They start taking really small breaths, or they try to,
game the machine.
Yeah, and with the Data Master Test, the officers, for a period of time before you take the test, are going to be watching you. They're going to be watching even your mouth to make sure that you haven't vomited, to make sure you haven't put anything in your mouth.
So should you sign that consent form too?
Yes, you should. There's no reason
All
not
right,
to.
so we're coming up to a break. We're at the point, we've done the Data Master Test.
Correct.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
Worth Ave Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Thav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Thav Gross today, 888-235-HELP.
I love you too. Bye-bye. That was Jerry. Emma just said her first word.
Oh.
Jerry says hello and they'll be over soon.
Who's Jerry? Is he a friend of yours?
No. This Jerry. Our Jerry. And this is his wife and their little girl.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Thav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Thav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Time for announcements. Want to remind our viewers to listen to us for Law and Reality Live on the Praise Network, 93.5, 98.3, and 99.9 FM, Tuesdays 10 o'clock a.m. and Saturdays 7 a.m., and then on KISS 105.9, Sundays 7 o'clock a.m. Be sure and sign up for our monthly contest. Free $50 Visa gift card, Law and Reality golf hat, and a copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. We've got seminars coming up. Wednesday, March 13th, 6 to 7:30 p.m., we have an estate planning seminar, why you need an estate plan. We're going to talk about the elements of an estate plan, documents you must have while you're living, documents addressing what happens when you pass away, how to address probate issues. Jeff Linden, Brian Small, and myself will be presenting. Attendees get a $300 gold certificate off the cost of an estate plan. You want to sign up at thavgross.com, lawandreality.com, or call 888-235-HELP. Then on Wednesday, March 27th, 6 to 7:30 p.m., we have another debt relief seminar, Time to Spring Me from the Debt Burden. Get that Spring Me, March 27th, it's spring. We're going to talk about all the ways that we use to preserve future income for you and your family, solutions outside of bankruptcy, solutions using bankruptcy. The key element is you need to get rid of the debt so you're not taking all your disposable income and paying it on those credit cards. You'll never have any money to save for retirement if you do that. Jenny Lingle will do a special segment on how to resolve tax issues. Attendees get a free copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. Sign up at thavgross.com, lawandreality.com, or call 888-235-HELP. Now, I want to remind our viewers you can always come in for a free consultation at Thav Gross. Just call 888-235-HELP or go online and sign up on the website. Debt issues with Brian, tax issues with Jenny, estate planning issues with Pat or with Brian, elder law issues with Pat, business law issues with myself, disability with Jeff Kirshner, criminal issues with Corey Silverstein. Just take advantage of the free consultation. They are not a meet and greet. You come in, we tell you what you need to do, we tell you the steps that need to be taken, we tell you how much it'll cost. You get a complete plan of action as to how to address your problem. Sign up at lawandreality.com again or call 888-235-HELP. Also, go online on our website for free reports. We have a brand new report, Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solutions, written by Jenny Lingle and myself, How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure, Retiree's Guide to Social Security from Pat Samasco, and Business Formation Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in the Detroit area. All you do is click on the link and the report gets downloaded to you. I want to thank our sponsors, Thav Gross, Samasco Law, Jeff Kirshner Law offices of Corey Silverstein. Now back to the show.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
Thav Gross specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
I've taken the Data Master test.
Yep.
When do the results come?
The Data Master test results will be immediate. So at that point, you're going to get a little pink slip is actually going to print right out of the machine. The officer will generally tell you exactly what you've blown.
So it comes out and it says bombed.
It doesn't say bombed. You'll get a number. And in Michigan, the alcohol limit is 0.08. So 0.08 or over is what's considered intoxicated.
0.08 is impaired.
When should I be calling a lawyer?
No, 0.08 is intoxicated.
When do I get a lawyer?
So here's the
what's the
interesting
difference
part.
between 0.08 and 0.1? Where's the
Well, 0.1, you're
higher than 0.08.
0.1's higher than.
But
0.08.
isn't there a difference in
We'll
the?
do math.
We'll get to that, because
We'll
when
do
you get
math next
when
week.
you get to 0.17, then it becomes super drunk. But we'll get there in a second. So here's so at this point, now that Brian's completely thrown me off track,
When do I call a lawyer?
you call a lawyer. Remember that at the time that you are asked to take your Data Master test, if you don't understand and you're behaving yourself and acting nicely with the police officers, if you tell the officers, you know what, I don't understand what you're asking me, I'd like to call my lawyer, you can, and generally speaking, the officers will cooperate with you and will allow you to make it a call. Again, so long as you're behaving.
I'm going to stop right now. On the screen is a phone number
Yep.
with the name Corey.
Yes.
You should put it in your wallet.
Well,
you don't know when this is going to happen to you or to your friend, And if you get that opportunity to call the lawyer, you need to know the number to call because they're not going to let you start doing Google searches to find your attorney.
No, but we actually have we have a preemptive thing that we do now. Something that my office does that's extremely unique, Ken, is that if someone thinks that they might be in this situation, they can call ahead, give me their information ahead of time, and we actually have a system set up so that they can send me a text message. And you can send me a text message with nothing but a single numerical code, and I will know that you've been stopped and you're probably going down for drunk driving.
So instead of getting in the Uber card, in the Uber, I instead notify you that I think I'm going to have a problem?
No.
There is something insane going on here.
This generally happens after you've been stopped is when I get the text message that I'm in trouble.
Okay.
But you
so
actually
you have the text code.
It's a text code so that they
Spells
can get
out help.
They can get, it doesn't really spell help.
All right. We only got a couple minutes left. Walk us through where we're going. Okay, so I flunked the test.
Yep.
I've called you.
Yep.
Now what happens?
All right. So
how bad is this going to be?
You're under arrest. You're in trouble. Okay, a drunk driving offense is one of the most serious things that you can get charged with. And why is that? Because it's a driving offense. And when you have a driving offense, I'm like Ken now. I can't get anything out of my mouth.
Yeah, but we're welcome to the club.
So when you end up getting the driving offense, it is non-expungible. No matter what ends up happening, it will be with you forever because driving offenses are non-expungible from your record.
Can you make it go away?
Never. A drunk driving offense, unless you beat the case, which you might be able to. There are substantial defenses that exist to a drunk driving case, but it's essential that when you get to the point where you've been arrested, charged, you get a hold of legal right away. There are far too many people that march into court.
Keep your mouth shut from the time he asks you questions in the car. You've been drinking. I'd rather not discuss this.
Yep. Because what they do, Ken, is they go into court on a first appearance and they think they can do it on their own. They don't want to spend the money on counsel. They think they're smarter than the system. They're angry at the system. It's wrong. Remember, first time offense, 93-day misdemeanor. Second offense, now you're looking at up to a year in jail. And then, of course, now if you get up to the third offense, this is what Jenny and I were talking about before the show started, now you're in felony territory. Now you're looking at potentially up to 5 years in Michigan State prison, not county time.
So I hired you,
Yep.
I called you, I did the text thing, I kept my mouth shut. It's my first offense.
Yep.
How long does the process, we have a minute left, how long does the process take and what should I really expect as the outcome?
The process itself could be 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, depending on how you go. If ultimately there are massive defenses that have to come up, and an experienced attorney, what we do is we immediately get everything that's available from the prosecutor, including the video and the audio of your stop,
you
arrest.
build a defense.
We build a defense right from the start. This is the mistake.
You need to find some errors in the state's case to give you leverage to negotiate.
Absolutely. Remember, it's the prosecutor's burden to prove that you have committed a crime. It is not the defense obligation to disprove it. The prosecutor has to prove it. So it's important that right from the start, you're looking at the evidence they're going to use and you're ready to fight and attack that evidence.
Let me wrap it up. All right. Fascinating, number one. Appreciate it. Do not fight the officer, but do not make statements that are going to be used against you.
Correct.
Call Corey right away.
Yep.
You need counsel, and you need to go through the process in a smart way. You got to clear your head and do the right thing in that situation. Have a great week. Thanks, Corey. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.